Greetings, everybody. This is Ashmedi from Melechesh, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious Podcast.
The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast.
So you're there. Let's talk about the new album. Is it this year?
Yeah, I came from the studio.
Oh, nice.
So what happened is 12 September, I went to Greece. Mm-hmm. I wanted to do it in Athens. 2-3 weeks, just relax and stuff like that. Then we started rehearsals. And then there were a few delays and we took breaks, but I'm in the studio in Athens.
So you're recording in Athens? Because last was like Istanbul, right?
No, the actual previous one was Athens, the one before Istanbul. The reason is I like supporting the area, the Mediterranean, and the metal scene there is amazing, but also I like the weather, the culture, the people.
Right.
And the city, when you're in, it doesn't close. So let's say you get out of the studio like 3 in the morning, you can go sit somewhere, have a glass of wine, or you can order liquor, you can order food, 24 hours. And
there's a good black metal scene in Greece too, right? I mean, your friends are from Sakis is there from, right?
Oh, yes, of course. Ryan Krauss and good, very.
I mean, I think you guys toured at some point, right?
We toured together, and I sing on the new. Actually, on our previous album, he does backing vocal. He sings, but on the
on Enki.
Yeah, and on the latest album of Ryan Krauss, I do completely a whole song, lyrics and singing in the Arabic language, classical Arabic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's called "The Voice of the Universe," and it was more like narrative. It was weird because, it's not my mother tongue Arabic, nor Hebrew is. My family are Armenian. They're expats in Jerusalem. I was born there as an expat.
I tried to think about it earlier. I tried to follow it, and it's kind of impossible.
I wish I could just say I'm Italian or Belgian.
But whatever the case is, you bring all those cultures into everything you do, though, right? Doesn't that seep in?
It's both.
So me, I'm bringing American stuff because that's all I. But if you got all that,
I bring everything in it, and it taught me one thing. I'm from planet Earth. My first language I spoke, ironically, was French.
Really?
Why? Because I was a baby, starting to speak. I was in Senegal, Africa, and the nanny, the Senegalese lady, was speaking French to me, And then I came back to Jerusalem, and the main language I use is English,
right?
Because I was in an international community. But I learned Arabic and Hebrew. I speak Dutch. I speak French, little German, little Turkish.
Right, because you were in the Netherlands for
20 years. Too, right? I'm a Dutch citizen, actually. But the world is so small, man.
I've
seen it. How small it is. I've been traveling since I was a kid, and it's weird. Like, you can say which neighborhood or area you fell out of you were born.
Right.
That's it. It's not your country.
Right.
It's the area you came from. That area. You're from planet Earth.
Right.
You're a human from Earth, and you came from that area. Countries are made, but you are like artificially made.
Right.
So, and when someone says this is my country, you can say that's an issue of semantics. You can say that's where I'm from. This is the country, like the logo of the area.
Right.
But if it's really your country, and when someone says you don't like it, get out of my country. I'm like, if it's your country, take a shit in the middle of the street now.
Right.
Build a house in it. You can't. You'll be fine. You pay rent there. It's called tax.
Right.
And you'll be homeless.
Yeah.
And
really quick.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can't just build any space you find because it is confiscated by people with power. Otherwise they'll hurt you. And so you should be scared.
So a perfect example, I don't want to talk politics, but that whole thing that happened in Oregon or Seattle where they just took over that whole, like, this is our little piece of property here it didn't last long. It lasted a couple months and they were like, fuck you.
Yeah.
It's not yours.
And like, the worst thing I don't like is passports and visas. You know what it is? It's a license to live, the passport. So when you watch science fiction movies, people inside the wall, they have like the futuristic life. People outside are in this. We are actually living it. That's it's we live it now, and one human has more value than the other.
Yes, and that's so.
I see that.
Oh yeah.
I landed from. I was visiting my mother in Jerusalem. I'm going to Frankfurt and doing festivals. I landed in Athens. Nothing. Just walk out. Fotis from Septic Flesh then picks me up. We go play some music, have lunch, drops me. There was a Syrian family shit scared, and the policeman with them. They didn't have the same license to live.
So you see that everywhere, not just
and that's man-made.
Yeah.
And if the whole world was good and peaceful and good economy everywhere, no one would leave their home.
Right.
You know. So it's
yeah, you're right.
It'll be only an issue of taste. I like the weather. I like the view.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway,
you know.
Melechesh album this year. What's the what was the writing process like? I mean, it's been a while since
it's been a while.
right? 2015.
I've been. Well, we toured a lot, like in Europe. We didn't come to the States, but we did like 7, 8 tours in Europe.
Oh, really?
Mexico, yeah. A lot of festivals. There was always demand for more tours. I couldn't write always because I have PTSD. I had to deal with that. Some really serious issues. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to write under those cushions. I wrote and I threw them all away.
Right.
And then I started writing after, like, from the heart, and it's like I'm enjoying it very much, very sincere. I have material for like almost 2 albums.
So do you find it cathartic?
Yeah, and it's weird. You get to the pain and and then you scream like a primal scream after that. But also when you play, you need to feel good also.
Right.
Because if you're sensitive, you're like over analyzing things, and you're not being withdrawn creatively with the music. So it takes a balance of both. Melechesh is order and chaos.
Right.
Really, it's a perfect balance.
So being cathartic, then, does that mean you've gotten to a point where you've put, or have you ever felt you put too much of yourself into it and been like, shit, I can't put that out there, or do you just deal with the vulnerability?
Way, that's why I write metaphors in the lyrics. So people are reading one thing, I'm saying another, and I leave it open for interpretation. Right. So it's there, but some people ask.
Because I think in order to be, you said raw, but to be raw and honest, it's got to be real, right? You've got to be vulnerable.
My man, if it's not real, I don't do it.
Right.
I have a master's degree in MBA in business.
Right.
I can go work, I don't know, or make a cool company by the beach, hang out, do something. I do it as if I'm a monk, as if it's a calling for the cultural phenomena, the entity Melechesh.
Right.
And it's not always easy, It's like you're a monk,
Yeah, sure.
And it has to be real, otherwise,
So, with all of that said, then, do you feel that there's something you want your fans to walk away from after listening to a Melechesh record?
Yeah, transcendence and enlightenment, but no. Also just good vibrations. Don't forget, this is sonic magic, and magic is just undiscovered science. We all know these are vibrations of sound. Where do they travel? They go through your cells and body. So don't you feel like you want to headbang and like this euphoria when you hear Slayer, for example?
Oh, absolutely.
There you go. You took it without taking any pill, or no one forced you. So it is real. You manifest it from your brain.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, a minute ago I asked you if it was cathartic for you, but you're right. As a listener,
yes,
it's total. I'm not a musician at all, but yes, I go see Insomnium last night, and I'm in a whole nother realm.
But you wouldn't have it just watching a movie. You're experiencing it. You are part of it. For me, that's why we have the new way of thinking. Melechesh is us and the society of Melechesh, the people. Without them, I will just make demos,
Right.
I want them part of it in the concert. I want them to enjoy, but I'm not going to tell them how. That's why I don't preach.
Right.
I do with multiple meanings and let them themselves
multiple
visualize.
Truths, maybe.
Exactly. And let them visualize in their head the picture. I'm not going to put it in their head.
Right. So new record, same sort of vibe with the Middle Eastern.
Well, that's the thing. We're a band that not once, like every song sounds different,
right?
Yet it has a theme. It's our region, kind of like, let's say if Metallica, Slayer, if Napalm Death do something, they have their thing,
right?
But they're flexible. They're talented.
But by the same token, you don't want to rewrite the same record. Right?
That's what I mean.
You have to do something different.
That's what I mean. We have a domain, and there, man, we freestyle. We do whatever we want.
Right.
It could be like raw as blasphemy, or something more like. More accessible, whatever, as long as it sounds sincere.
Okay, so I know that was my cue to get out of here, but what's next for you guys?
Well, finish the album, record it properly, get it mixed, and then we can start booking tours everywhere. Around the world.
Awesome. You rock, my friend. Thank you for taking the time.
My pleasure.
Ever wonder what a punch from Elton John feels like?
Or how you'd cope with having turned down the chance to be in Nirvana?
or what signal Keith Richards gives when he wants you to get the hell out of his hotel room.
Fans of Too Much Effing Perspective don't have to wonder, because they've heard these exact stories and a jillion others on our podcast. I'm Alex Hoffman, former tour manager for Radiohead.
And I'm musician and comedy writer Alan Keller. On the TMEP show, we get guests like Nancy Wilson from Heart, Jeremiah Frates from the Lumineers, and Modern Family's Julie Bowen to tell us things they may have only shared with their therapist, clergy, or a TMZ stringer.
So join us on Too Much Effing Perspective. That's EFFING Perspective. The only podcast you crank up to 11.